Welcome, welcome, my fabulous fempreneurs. I'm excited that I am bringing you today some more really in-depth information on money mindset. I am here with wonderful Elizabeth Plancon, and she is going to give us some practical tips on how to move forward in our money, not only mindset, but just improvement for the better of each of our lives. Welcome, welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you all today.
Yes, and it is warm. It's summer now, and you are just bringing the beach to us with that lovely, lovely background that I just can't take my eyes off of. But for those who are just listening on the podcast, we just welcome you to grab a pen and paper while we open up and explore one of the taboo topics of the world. We don't know why. But yeah, let's start there. Why do you think money became such a taboo topic for us, especially for women?
Yeah, I think it's because it became so personable, like, right? Like personal. Like everyone kind of it's how they, live, and there's a lot of judgment I feel around it too, judging others, judging what they do with their money, or if they have more than someone else, then sometimes they feel better than other people, or those with less than might feel that those people with more money feel that, right? Like there's all these assumptions about money and how it changes people and how people, what they do with it and how it makes them feel and live their life. So I really think it just became that such this personal thing in people's lives that we I don't know how you were raised, but you were always taught like you don't ask people how much they make. I don't know how much my friends make, like my very best friends. Like we don't talk about that, right? Like it's not really out in the open. And I think it's a beautiful thing that it's starting to come more into the awareness of that money is just a tool and it doesn't have to rule our lives and how we feel about each other or have judgments attached to it.
Right, and I love what you're saying. That's one aspect that we have not explored is how it makes us perceive ourselves if we don't have as much, or those that have more, how they perceive themselves or perceive others, in the sense that it could be just in your head. People might
Right.
not be looking down on you. You might just feel that people are looking down on you. And how does that play out in someone's life who is living paycheck to paycheck, for example? How do they feel?
It's I can't really say how they feel, right? Because only they know how they feel. I can only make my assumptions, just as I think, which is exactly what you said, is people have their perceptions and they hold that as truth. But when you realize that your assumptions and projections are not the truth for everybody, it may be true for you, but that doesn't hold true about them. Those are not facts. So really, like if you're someone that's living paycheck to paycheck, uh, maybe removing the judgment from that on yourself, but also remove the judgment of comparing yourself to other people, right? And we could definitely get into that when we talking about, tips and everything like that and how it kind of works with the energetics of money because it's like one of my favorite things to talk about, but it's so huge about your perceptions and beliefs.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so yeah, we can never talk about how someone else feels, but we can only imagine that there is a mindset involved that brought them to the place where they're living paycheck to paycheck. And so, what are the energetics? How do we move and change those energetics so that we become a person who is more in the flow and not living fearful?
Yeah, I mean, really just like cultivating the belief that there's always more than enough. That is
Mm,
something that's really changed my life because there really is always more than enough money and supply in this world. There's always more than enough abundance. Abundance is limitless, and we can tap into that limitless supply based on what we believe to be true for ourselves and our energetics. And so, my first thing is, if you were living paycheck to paycheck, even just trying to hold that gratitude that you are able to pay your bills, right? That you are able to cover your expenses and that you have everything that you need. Being in gratitude for having the things that you need and what you do have now is going to be like the first step in shifting your energetics and perspective.
beautiful. Being in gratitude. That's a
Yes.
great tip. How about other tips for managing your money from day to day?
Yeah, so for managing day to day with as far as like the energetics, I'll try to answer this as short of a statement as I can because it really is, you know, for me identifying where you are now, right? Like where seeing where you are, having that awareness and then getting clear about what you would love, not so much about what you think is possible at this moment, but how much would you love to be making every month? Because if you are not clear on how much you would actually like to make per month or, feel like that would, make you feel comfortable and safe and secure, in terms of manifestation, the universe, when we talk about that, if you ask and for more money, I just want more money. Well, then what if you got an extra $10 for that paycheck where you had an unexpected, free lunch or you found $1 on the street? Well, you got more money, right? So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So we really have to get clear on what is that amount that you would love to be able to be making every month or bringing into your life every month.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is having goals.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Having
And
goals and clarity around those goals.
yeah, clarity around the goals, possibly writing them down and having them. How do you record those goals?
So when I first meet with a client or one of my students in manifestation and trying to achieve more money, clearly define that dollar amount, right? And then we're going to be writing it every day in present tense as you have it, as if you already have it. So it is like a statement that is, I'm so happy and grateful now that I make whatever amount you want to make every month. We'll just say, I make $5,000 every month on a consistent basis with ease and flow. But the important part of saying that every day or writing it, whatever feels good to you, is feeling how would it feel if
Mm,
that were true in your life? How would it feel once that happens for you? Would you feel safe? Would you feel secure? Would you feel joy, freedom? What is that feeling? And taking a moment to actually feel and experience that feeling.
wow, yes. And that is a key to manifestation. Yes, just knowing how it feels. And the tip was putting it in the present tense. Not the
Yes.
wishing, not the wanting or the chasing, but having.
Right, because when you have it and you become it, that's when it manifests in your physical reality. That's when you're changing your vibration and becoming an energetic match to that amount. If you continue to say like I want this or I wish I had this or I would love this to happen, right? You're keeping it in the future and keeping it yourself in the energetic of wanting, meaning you don't have it. So we want to be in the energetics of already having it because that is what the universe will respond by bringing it to you in your physical reality.
Brilliant. And you just touched on something that is very clear now to me, how the media and, television commercials, they keep you in that area of want. They have this system set up so that things seem just out of reach so that you will try and purchase it, and then you have to get the next thing and the next thing. And one of the results is that people wind up in debt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think that debt is also a taboo in this, is a controversial thing,
Mm.
and many people won't agree with me, but if you have debt, I don't always think it's the worst thing in the world, right? Because when you put this negative connotation to debt,
Yeah.
right? Then that's what brings your energetic down and you're going to stay there. So, one of the things that I've learned in manifestation is, instead of saying the goal like I'm so happy I'm debt free, or I just want to be out of debt, I just want to be out of debt. What you're doing by saying those things is you're focusing then on your debt. And whatever you focus on is what's going to continue to manifest over and over in your current reality. So instead of focusing on the actual debt, we want to shift your focus to what is it the state that you want to be in, which is financial freedom, right? So I'm so happy and grateful now that I live in financial freedom every day. And whatever that means to you, that's totally fine. But in for me, sometimes having a little bit of credit card debt is not the worst thing in my life, because I'm grateful that I have this credit available to me, to get the things that I need when I need them. And I know it's going to get paid off. Like, I fully know 100% it's going to get paid off. So I don't worry about it anymore. Right. Like, that was the biggest shift for me that changed my life, is when I stopped worrying about my debt and focused on financial freedom, and that's how I was able to pay off my debt.
Oh, wow. So that's huge. That can apply to every area of our life. Instead of focusing on what you don't want, because what I'm hearing from you, the universe doesn't hear the I don't want debt. It hears, I want debt. And you're stuck in that phase and transforming it to, I am so grateful that I live in financial freedom. So changing your language around your current situation is very helpful to change your mindset. Is that true?
Yes, 100%. Your words are so powerful. And even if you're just joking around, right? A lot of times, like, paying attention to your language, this is another great tip. Like, that's really expensive, or it's too expensive, or I'm
Mm.
broke. Like, if you keep saying, "Oh, I'm so broke," what do you think's going to happen? You're going to remain in that state of being broke. So really paying attention to the words that you're using is so powerful, right? And another thing is, like, when we go to the grocery store and we have to, if you do have to use your credit card, right? Instead of being in that ugh feeling like, oh, I can't believe I have to use my credit card, I'm putting this in my credit card, we give thanks to being able to get the things that we need. Or when we're paying our bills, I'm so grateful that I'm able to pay my bills. I'm so grateful that I'm able to pay for this food, right? And that is just putting you in that energy of abundance and gratitude, which will bring more things to be abundant and grateful for. But going back to, like, the focus really quickly, I just want to say this one statement that is one of my life mottos is, worrying is like praying for what you don't want. So it kind of is like whatever you're focusing on is what you're asking for. So if we're constantly worried about money, in the lack of it, right? We're constantly worried about the debt. We're basically asking for more of that, even
In-
though it doesn't feel that way, right?
Interesting. And yeah, I understand. Those are part of the things that get programmed into us from childhood or from our environment, family background, culture, to say things all the time. Oh, that's too expensive. Oh, that's a waste. And in the last few years, I had to curtail myself saying, oh, I can't afford that, because it wasn't actually true.
Right,
Once you
right.
believe that you can, then things start to open up for you. So it's interesting that to, I would say sometimes maybe socially, to say you don't have it is more acceptable than to say, oh, I have it. It's money's no problem. People might, again, there might be judgment of, she thinks she's so, I don't know, so above it all.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And how do you manage that? um, especially when it comes to family that are still stuck in that judgment and in that kind of scarcity mindset, um, money is evil mindset. How do you maneuver around people who don't allow you to expand? Or I shouldn't say don't allow you, you can expand if you want to, but
Mhm.
people who are giving negative vibes.
Yeah. So I love how you caught yourself there, right? Because no one can, not allow us to do anything. That is our choice. We are allowing other people to impress their beliefs upon us.
Mm,
So it really is kind of like putting those blinders on and those walls up to, you know, figure out what it is that you would love to believe to be true and holding on to those beliefs and understanding that we are all on our own journey and my beliefs are different from yours and what I believe to be true is going to be different than other people, and that's okay. Everyone can have their own beliefs, but we don't have to take them on for ourselves. And we can, start to express to people, well, I'm choosing to believe that I am supported and everything will be okay. And the more you start living in this way and others see how your life starts to shift, they're going to start catching on and they're going to be like, I want some of that too, right? Like I want that positive mindset. It will start rubbing off on people. But it really is deciding to not allow the outside circumstances around you to affect your inner being. That's what it comes down to.
brilliant. I'll repeat that again. Do not allow the outside circumstances around you to affect your inner being. And one other thing that you said, hold on to what you want to be true or what you believe is true. Hold on.
Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, yes. So moving into fear,
Mhm.
fear around money and money as a reflection of your self-worth, where you
Mhm.
keep yourself at a certain level. How does one begin to, I guess, erase or let go of the programming that this is the way my life has to?
Yeah. Right. Right. Like you're just assuming that this is the way you were brought up or this is how your family is and has been for generations and there's no way out, right? And fear comes from our ego. And our ego is not all a bad thing. Like people talk about the ego as this awful thing. Our ego is here to keep us safe,
Hmm.
right? It protects us, which is good. We need that sometimes. But most of the time, it is to keep us small and not expand and grow because it wants to keep us comfortable. And when we are growing and expanding, that is uncomfortable. So letting go of the fear of in going into the unknown, and for me, it really is believing and trusting in a higher power. Whatever that is for you, whether it be God, universe, spirit, source, I believe that there is a higher power that connects us all and I am divinely supported and guided and I will always be okay in this universe. And that's something I had to kind of, shift in my beliefs of what I thought God was, right? And I've definitely shifted my beliefs in that and believing that there's an universal energy that, does not want us to suffer. We're not here to suffer. We're not here to be without. We can have the life that we desire, and we are worthy and deserving of it. There's nothing you need to do to become worthy of deserving of it. You don't have to prove yourself. Okay. So these are the beliefs that have allowed me to release fear from my life in following my intuition and taking new steps and realizing I can create anything I want in my life. And so I don't have to be held down by those limitations I once thought I was.
Beautiful sentiments. And you created a shift for yourself. So tell us a little bit about your story, where you were and how you moved and transitioned to now having your own money empowerment business.
Yeah, so I was working with my mom actually straight out of college and worked with her for 16 years, was going to take over her company and was going to be a pretty cushy paying job. I was going to be doing well. And I started to have this pull towards something else, like that I was meant for something bigger. Just really it's something that with more purpose that I had a passion about that I felt inspired by because what I currently was doing was not my passion and I was in debt. I would usually have, a break, not a breakdown, but I would freak out about money probably about once a month, being like, oh my gosh, we have all this debt. We're never going to be able to get a bigger house. We're never going to be able to do this. We want to do all these things. And I would always worry about how much money we spent, would go to the look for the cheapest thing, right? All the time. And then I found this material. I found mindset work and I found manifestation work, and it changed my life. It completely changed how I look at the world. It changed how I look at myself and realizing that I can create a life of my own that I love and I can change my circumstances at any moment in time. And so by doing that, I have been able to manifest the things that I desire. I manifest unexpected money all the time. And that is one thing, like when something happens now, like if something breaks, like an appliance, right? Or your car or whatever, I used to freak out. How are we going to pay for this? Oh my gosh, it's so much money and go on, right? The spiral. Now, and even when I first started, I would just let go and trust that the money would come and it would be okay. And every single time the money has showed up in unexpected ways. And I can get into those stories if you want me to, some of them because they're super fun. But, just things like that. Manifesting the money to buy our dream home, right? And go on trips and then create one of my biggest manifestations I wanted to do was create my business that was a soul led business, which I've done. So that's kind of like my story and how, I started off, I used to be that person was let me talk to your manager. I'm going to get my way, and I let things bother me. I worried all the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm a completely different person.
I want to go back to that phrase, letting it go. Trust that it will be okay.
Yes.
Trust that it will be okay. And I invite our listeners to take a deep breath on that because, yeah, it can be tough for a woman running her own business, to take risk and feel like she's giving up her security. But trusting that it will be okay is part of the process of manifesting that it will be okay and the gratitude for when it happens, when it comes out okay. How did you manage to transition your family into that? Because just one person doing the work and let's say the husband is the same or
Mhm.
used to you being a certain way and then the reaction is like a codependent reaction to your money mindset and then his money mindset. How does that transition?
It really is just living by example, right? In just being holding that like holding that truth like I talked about before and these beliefs and just sharing what I've learned, and how I've changed my beliefs and really just giving a different perspective and not coming from judgment, letting go of judgments and really being vocal about it for me with my family about releasing judgments around other people or their actions and the world and explaining to people what I've learned, and my whole family has kind of shifted, like not even just like my husband and my kids, but also my family, like my sister and my mom and my cousins all watch me, my friends, and they say we watch you, like we're learning from you, how to just live in this happier life. And I think they see how I've changed. And
Okay.
it's easy for them to ask me questions or to just listen how I phrase things or how I, talk about things or the actions that I'm taking. And I would say, as an entrepreneur, when you're talking about taking risks and everything and how it could be scary, right? I truly believe like you had this pull, this calling to do what you want to do in your business for a reason, and that everything happens for a reason, and it's not by mistake. So knowing that by stepping into your purpose, stepping into this business, whatever it is that you're doing, you can make it work because you are meant to do this. So just
Mhm.
like believing in yourself and that goal towards where you want to go, and letting go of the fear surrounding that you will be without.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful sentiment and a lot of wisdom. And you can just feel your energy of wisdom that surrounds you. Like age old timeless wisdom. And I just invite our listeners to breathe into this and not only have courage, but it's kind of a faith that trust that it will be okay. And whatever your soul, as you said, the soul-led business is leading you to lean into that, lean into that purpose.
Definitely.
And then I guess you learn to love it, or the enjoyment will come as soon as you are in the place that you truly belong. Well, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, Elizabeth, today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.